Welcome back everybody, my name is Tucker and today I'm trying something new and starting a bit of a series that I'll return to periodically, and I'm calling this series Trade Rewind. In this, I'm going to be taking a look back at specific trades throughout NBA history, one per video, and really dig deep into what became of the assets in the trade. And when I say dig deep, I mean we are really going to go in depth here, and I'm going to break the deal down 5 different ways. First, I'll overview the parameters of the trade at the time. Second, I'll go over what the players traded did for each team after being traded. Third, I'll show you what all of those pieces ended up turning into down the line. Fourth, I'll examine how it comes into play for their 2018-19 NBA season rosters. And fifth, I'll take a look at how all of that affected the league as a whole from a broad perspective. The idea here is that it's so common to focus first on how a trade impacts the teams involved a year or two down the line, but with the way assets are exchanged in the NBA today, the effects of trades can last for nearly a decade or even longer at times, as you'll see in this video. Today's topic is going to be the Denver Nuggets sending Carmelo Anthony to the New York Knicks in 2011. Let's go ahead and get started. Before I get into the trade itself, I'll give you guys a bit of background around the situation. Carmelo Anthony spent 6 full seasons with the Nuggets, and by 2011, he was widely regarded as one of the best players in the league and certainly one of its most lethal scorers. His stats speak for themselves, and he actually led them to the 2009 Western Conference Finals as well, a series in which they were tied 2-2 with the eventual NBA champion Lakers before losing in 6 games. Side note, that was actually the year that Dwight Howard dragged the Magic to the NBA Finals as well, which means that had Melo and the Nuggets managed to defeat the Lakers in the conference finals that year, then either Carmelo or Dwight Howard would have an NBA championship to their name right now. But anyway, I'm getting off track. By the 2010-11 season, Anthony had refused to sign a contract extension and didn't want to be in Denver anymore. He reportedly had his eye on playing for the Knicks, who likely would have been favorites to sign him that offseason had they just waited it out, but instead they pulled the trigger at the trade deadline in 2011 and brought Anthony to New York. Alright, now we get to the trade itself. The Nuggets received Wilson Chandler, Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, Timofey Mozgov, a 2012 and 2013 second-round pick, a 2014 and 2016 first-round pick, as well as Costa Koufos. The Knicks received Anthony, Ronaldo Balkman, Chauncey Billups, Anthony Carter, Sheldon Williams, a 2016 first-round pick, and Corey Brewer. The Timberwolves received Eddie Curry, Anthony Randolph, and a 2015 second-round pick. In terms of immediate impact, let's begin with the Nuggets. Of the players they received, all of them, except for Felton, who was moved in the summer of 2011, had an impact on the team in their time in Denver. Chandler was a solid all-around player and double-digit scorer when healthy. Ditto for Gallinari, and he was a very productive offensive player when healthy for Denver as well, while Mozgov was a strong force in the middle for 20 to 25 minutes a night. All 3 of those guys were a part of that special 2012-13 regular season by the Nuggets, led by Coach George Karl, who was Coach of the Year that season, in which they won 57 games and finished second in the West. For the Timberwolves, who really don't matter in this video, both Curry and Randolph were waived after the trade. And now, of course, for the New York Knicks. Balkman, Carter, and Williams' stints with the team were nearly irrelevant after the trade, while Billups suffered a knee injury in the playoffs and was waived from the team via the amnesty clause in the summer of 2011. So basically what I'm saying is, as you would expect, Carmelo Anthony was the only piece of real value that the Knicks got in return for the package that they sent to the Nuggets. He joined forces with Amar'e Stoudemire, and from a statistical standpoint, Melo was awesome for a large part of his time with the Knicks. Most notably, he helped lead them to their best regular season this century in the 2012-13 season, a 54-win campaign in a first-round playoff series victory, their only series win since the 2000 playoffs, Jeff Van Gundy's last as head coach of the Knicks. Now I'm going to go over what each piece of the trade actually ended up turning into down the line, including the numerous picks. First up for Minnesota, again, they're largely irrelevant in this. Curry and Randolph were both waived, as I said, and the 2015 second-round pick they got actually ended up becoming Richaun Holmes, but they traded the pick away well before that in 2011 to Portland for what amounted to nothing. For the Nuggets, here are the assets that ended up becoming basically nothing, and you can see the specifics on screen here. Chandler, Felton, as well as the 2012 second-round pick ended up bringing them no future value via trade or otherwise. While in terms of a player that got them a little bit of value, Gallinari was moved to the Clippers in a 3-team deal in 2017 that netted them a 2019 second-round pick that they've obviously yet to use as of this video. But now we get to the really interesting stuff, starting with Timofey Mozgov. As many of you will probably remember, he was traded to the Cavs in 2015 for a 2016 and 2017 first-round pick during LeBron's first year back in Cleveland, and was actually a pretty big piece for the Cavs. Denver used the 2016 pick to help dump JaVale McGee's salary on the 76ers in 2015, and the Sixers used it to select Furkan Korkmaz. While the 2017 first-round pick was sent to Portland along with Jusuf Nurkic in early 2017 in exchange for Mason Plumlee. That 2017 pick would eventually end up with the Sacramento Kings and become Harry Giles. So if you want to talk about it in a roundabout way, the picks that Denver ended up getting for Timofey Mozgov turned into Korkmaz and Giles, although they didn't turn into that specifically for the Nuggets. Then the 2013 second-round pick and the 2014 first-round pick that the Nuggets received ended up being a part of the deal that indirectly started the process in Philadelphia. The infamous 4-team deal that sent Andrew Bynum to the Sixers, Dwight Howard to the Lakers, and Andre Iguodala to the Nuggets in 2012. Iggy finished out the season for that 57-win 2012-13 Nuggets team that I mentioned earlier, but they were bounced in the first round, George Karl was fired, and Iggy signed a free agency deal with the Warriors the following season. He actually was signed and traded to Golden State, but it ended up netting the Nuggets essentially nothing in return. A quick note, that 2014 first-round pick that went to the Magic in that 4-team deal ended up becoming Dario Saric, which I'll talk about a little bit more down the line. The second to last piece to cover here for Denver is the 2016 first-round pick that they received, and they kept that and used it to select Jamal Murray. Lastly, Kosta Kufo stayed with the team until 2013, but was then traded to Memphis in exchange for Darrell Arthur and Joffrey Laverne. Laverne was then sent to the Thunder in 2016 for a 2017 second-round pick that became Monty Morris. And now we move on to the New York Knicks. Balkman, Billups, Carter, Williams, and Brewer were all either waived or not re-signed, so they didn't get the Knicks anything down the road. Melo, on the other hand, was traded to OKC in 2017 in exchange for Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and a 2018 second-round pick that became Mitchell Robinson. McDermott was later moved for Emmanuel Mudiay. Meanwhile, the 2016 first-round pick that they received in the Melo deal ended up becoming Jakob Poeltl, who's now in San Antonio as part of the Kawhi Leonard deal. But the Knicks moved the pick before using it, sending it to Toronto in 2013 as a part of a package for Andrea Bargnani. So in summary, the long-term version of the 2011 Carmelo Anthony trade is this. The Timberwolves didn't get anything, the Nuggets got a 2019 second-round pick, a piece in the JaVale McGee salary dump in 2015, a piece of the trade that brought them Mason Plumlee in 2017, 2 picks that ended up in the Iguodala trade that got them nothing, a 2016 pick that became Jamal Murray, and a 2017 second-round pick that became Monty Morris. While the Knicks got Enes Kanter, Andrea Bargnani, Emmanuel Mudiay, and Mitchell Robinson. In terms of the Nuggets and Knicks 2018 rosters, Denver predictably got the better part of the deal. Murray is one of the better young guards in the West, while Morris has turned into a solid backup point guard. Plumlee is a really good big off the bench that they might not have been able to get at the time without the picks that they got for Mozgov that they got for Anthony, while the McGee salary dump helped them clear the books for the rebuild that brought them their current team and very indirectly the cap space to bring in Paul Millsap in the summer of 2017. For the Knicks, they actually got really good value for Melo in 2017, considering how he has played in Oklahoma City and now in Houston as well for now. Kanter is a productive player, and the real prize is Robinson, who has a ton of potential that they were able to snag in the second round. It's pretty crazy to me that you can tie a fair amount of each team's roster to that initial Carmelo Anthony trade still, nearly 8 years after the initial trade was made. In terms of overall impact on the league, this trade was huge. Obviously, it would have been nice for Knicks fans had Melo just waited until that summer and signed with them so they could have kept all these assets, but he wanted his money, he wanted to be able to re-sign with the team for a bigger deal, and that's why he pushed the trade when he did. But like I said, it gave the Knicks their best season in a long time and helped the Nuggets perform well both while the main pieces of the trade in Chandler and Gallinari were there, as well as now with the number of 2018-19 pieces that they have from it that I already outlined. The big regret for me here is I wish they would have held on to that 2014 first-round pick that became Dario Saric rather than basically give it away for what amounted to nothing in the Iggy trade, at least in terms of impact beyond that second half of the season. Had they kept that pick, maybe that whole trade never happens as constructed and Iguodala either re-signs in Philly or ends up somewhere else and signs a long-term deal, rather than ending up in Golden State and winning a Finals MVP in their first championship season under Steve Kerr. And that's just a small taste of the kind of butterfly effect that these deals can have over a long period of time in the NBA if you follow them closely enough. And that is going to be the end of today's video and the first episode of NBA Trade Rewind. I hope you all enjoyed. I know I put a note on screen at the beginning, but once again, if you have any trades in mind that you would like to see for this series, I know that I already have a few in mind, then be sure to leave them down in the comment section below and I will take a look and possibly add them to the list. With that said, once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.